What's up, YouTube? Hobo Nichol BBQ back with you again. Today we have that. You know what's bad about going live? You can't restart. So we'll just have to wing this. All right, guys. We're doing the hot seat. We've got Chris from Blind Grilling. What's up, Chris?
Howdy, folks. Yeah.
Glad that you're here. And I'm not sure if there's a commercial playing here at the beginning of this thing because I can't remember if I hit the monetize button or not. So, and Robert Roy can't see anything but bacon. So hang on one second and let me hit him up. What's that?
Is he calling me fat?
No, he's just the background is the for my logo is, or for the channel is just a wad of like weave, bacon weave.
Oh, okay.
And for some reason, the way some people click in here, it will just keep showing that background. You got to hit refresh, which I'm assuming Robert Roy did. All right, so let's get started here. Chris, where are you from?
I'm from Springfield, Missouri. So that's down near Branson, Missouri.
All right, we got 9 people on. We got Meathead, Barlow Barbecue, Keith Batag, Kent Vandeweerd, Robert Roy, and I can't see anybody else because they've not typed. All right, let me ask real quick, how's the sound, guys? And we've got a 8-second delay between when I ask a question and when people see it to type.
Okay.
All right. Everybody says good sound. All right. So I want to do 2 things here, guys, before we get too far into this, because I know some people don't stick around for the entire thing, and pay close attention, because I know what's going to happen is I'm going to say this and people are going to start typing in the live chat, and that's not where it needs to go. But we are going to give away. I talked to Chris, and I'm going to send the money to him, and then he's going to get it sent out to you guys. But I'm going to do the random comment generator, and we're going to give away 2 bottles of rub. And I'm going to let Chris talk about that rub real quick.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, I got it over here. I'll let my kids tell me, is it facing right?
Yeah.
So, all right. So this is Blindsided, and this rub was put together by a friend of mine, Kevin Ward, who has a line of rubs. His barbecue company is 441 South Barbecue Company. He's in Georgia off of Highway 441 is where he grew up. And the way he does it, it's spell out 4, F-O-U-R, the number 41, and then south.com. But he's got a line of rubs, but he put together this Blindsided rub. It's an all-purpose rub. And, I mean, all proceeds of the sale of this rub go to Blind Grilling. I mean, he's not keeping anything, just whatever it costs to make it, and then everything else he's given to Blind Grilling. And it's actually one of my favorite rubs. I mean, it is an absolute amazing rub. And on beef, on chicken, it's been a go-to for burgers. My kids love it. And so we're going to, as Hobo said, we're going to give away 2 of these bottles, folks. And so we're looking forward to from the YouTube Cooks Facebook group. I've got a challenge. Folks who want to order this and use it in a video will then go and select one of those videos, and I've got a package together from Blind Grilling that we'll be giving away to a lucky winner who uses Blindsided in one of their videos. It's a limited edition, and so it's only, in fact, we're probably won't be on sale past Monday. The way it's selling right now, it's going pretty good. It continues to go well after Monday. If we sell out, we'll try to re-release it in the future. But Right now, it's like a 500 bottle run at 13-ounce bottles, $16 each, and it's an amazing rub. It's an all-purpose rub. It's got a little bit of sriracha powder in it too, but the heat really comes more from the pepper than it does from anything else. But it's good. It's an amazing rub. You will not be disappointed in it. I promise you that.
All right, so I put a link down in the description already for 441 South, the link to be able to go see this rub. I've got a link to Blind Grillin's YouTube channel. I can't remember. I think there was another link, but I can't remember what I put in there. So go check out the description at some point. All right, so the rub is called Blindsided, and you do something on your channel called Blindsided. You want to talk about that some?
So Blind Grilling turned into a nonprofit, and we are an official 501c3. And what we've decided that we are going to do is we provide accessible grilling packages. It includes a grill, a ceramic grill like a Big Green Egg, and all kinds of accessible accessories, so that visually impaired and blind individuals are able to use that grill or smoker completely by themselves, independently. And so we provide those to first responders or veterans who have lost their sight, whether through injury or disease. That doesn't necessarily matter. But if they've served in the military or as a first responder, they have first priority of receiving a package from us if they've lost their sight or had some vision loss. It's not limited to first responders and veterans, but again, they receive our priority. And we've done 2 deliveries, and you can see those videos on our YouTube channel. Blindsided episode 1 was to a corrections officer who went blind in Illinois, Neil Cox. And we were able to surprise him, worked with his wife, and we surprised him with a Big Green Egg package. And he has been just putting out some amazing food ever since. And that was back in October. The second guy that we delivered to was John Mark. He's in Florida. We actually were on our way to Florida back. We were going to deliver on 9/11. It was, kind of a big deal, with everything that 9/11 represents right now. We're going to deliver to this Army veteran. And on the way to Florida, I made it to Atlanta, and I had to fly home because the hurricane was hitting Florida at that time. And so we had to reschedule everything. And so in October, we went back to Florida and we delivered to John Mark. And both those videos, that's episode 2 of the Blindsided series. And those are on our YouTube channel. And so right now we're gearing up. We're trying to raise some money. And we're going to hopefully make several deliveries here in 2018.
So I just want to call out a couple things that are going on in the chat. Keith Betag says that that's very honorable. Baloney Ring Ranch says, pay attention, folks. We got 22 people on at this point. All right, so let's get back to some of the basic channel or the basic questions. And so, guys, this was a struggle for me to set this interview up, not from the setup standpoint, but to try to figure out how to talk about it, because there's a lot of stuff that I want to talk to Chris about that's, in case anybody hasn't figured it out, he's blind, and trying to wrap, him and I have talked a couple times now offline, so I kind of understand some things, but the first time that I ever talked to him, I was like, look, you have to explain to me how you do this stuff, because I have a hard time grilling and I can see.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that's, it hasn't been, just the easiest thing. And probably one of the biggest struggles with what we're doing in delivering these packages is the fact that we plan on spending the day with these individuals when we deliver the package, because we'll deliver all over the country. It would be great to have more time to go through things. It is definitely a crash course for some of these guys, but I've been using the Big Green Egg for uh, 14, almost 15 years, and I was doing it without the accessibility aspect of things. I was doing it by sending my kids out to look at the temperature and tell me what the temperature was. Well, my world was turned upside down just over a year ago with the introduction to me, of what's called the Flame Boss, which not only controls Camedy grills, it controls all kinds of other grills. But they made it accessible for the blind, and work with me to help make that possible. And I use ceramic grills because I can be cooking at 350 to 700 degrees, and I can touch that grill feeling around for the handle or where I'm at, and I don't burn myself. It's hot, but I'm not leaving skin behind. Whereas when I was using a charbroil barrel smoker, feeling around for that handle, you touch that grill, I got whelps on my fingers. And so it was rough, but I loved it so much I wasn't going to stop. And then, really it was my brother who finally got tired of seeing me burn myself, that he'd been using the Big Green Egg for a while, and he brought me one and said, "Here, check this thing out." And I've been going with it ever since.
So Barlow Barbecue asked, how does it work? And being that I've watched the video, the last blindsided video, I kind of understand it, but I think what he's asking is, how does how does everything talk to each other and, help you out?
Right. So the Flame Boss is a controller that has a fan that connects to the bottom fan. It works with drum smokers. It works with stick burners. You can get them for the Camedy. So depending on what grill you have as to which model you get, but it's a Wi-Fi controller. It has a pit probe that goes into the pit, and so it registers what the pit is, and you can set the temp, what you want the pit to be, and it's got a variable speed fan, and that fan will run at anywhere from 1% to 100%, depending on how much oxygen that your fire needs to get to the temp you want. It connects to Wi-Fi. So once it's connected to your Wi-Fi, I can get on my iPhone, which I'm using video now, so I can't show you, but I do have videos that demonstrate on the iPhone. It has voiceover, so it'll actually talk to me. And so anything I touch, on a touch screen, a sighted person will touch the screen, and they'll see the app they want, they touch it, it opens. Well, when I touch it, it tells me what it is I've touched, and if I want to open it, I'll tap twice. And so through that feedback of the speech, it tells me what it is that my temperature is, for example. It'll tell me what the pit is. It'll tell me what my meat is if I have a meat probe in. And with that, I'm able to change the set temp. With my phone, I can tell it, I don't want it at 275. I want to bump it to 300. And I can do that on my phone, and it'll change it over Wi-Fi. And beyond that, they actually made a skill for the Amazon Echo. And so I can actually talk to my Amazon Echo and tell her, hey, ask Flame Boss to change set temp. And I'll give it a temperature, and it'll just do it. I don't have to touch anything. Don't grab my phone. I'll just tell the Amazon Echo to do it. And it changes my Flame Boss temp. And so I can be anywhere in the city, in the country. If my Flame Boss is connected to my Wi-Fi, I can control it with my phone. It's pretty amazing. And so I can check my temperatures, everything. And I'm able to, smoke and grill whatever it is whatever I want to cook.
when I watched you guys doing that with the Alexa thing, I was just kind of, you said something about what's the temperature, and then he's like, Alexa, what's going on? And I was just sitting there like, this isn't going to happen. And I'm like, oh my God.
It worked, yeah. And Flamebot, I actually had another controller unit, and it didn't work for me. It wasn't accessible. So I contacted the Flame Boss and I said, listen, I'm about to drop another chunk of money, but before I do, I want to know if it's accessible. And they said, we don't know if it is or not. So instead of you buying one, we're just going to send you one, and you tell us. So it does. You do need to have someone sighted to connect it to your Wi-Fi. But once that was done, I've been using one for over a year now, and I haven't had to have sighted assistance with it at all, because once it was connected that first time, it just works. And there was some issues on the website because they didn't have an app at the time, and they didn't have the Amazon Echo going. And so I worked with them. I could get feedback, but I couldn't make any changes. And so that's when they called and said, hey, we've got a skill for the Amazon Echo. So we're going to send you one of those and see if that works. And it did. And then they did the app. And when they did the app, their goal of the app was to make it accessible for the blind. And so here's a company that is for the barbecue industry, that the last thing on their mind in developing this was to make it accessible for the blind. But as soon as that need came up for one person, which was me, they made it work for every blind person. I mean, they took that effort, and I appreciate it. And there's a lot of guys right now that are using it that we haven't helped through blind grilling, but have contacted me as a blind or visually impaired individual that's like, man, I went and got this to control my grill, and it's just changed their world.
So the other product I wanted to talk about that I seen that I thought was really neat was the talking pen. I don't know if you can kind of go over that a little bit.
Yeah, that pen friend, I'm new to that. I mean, I've learned a lot going through this process because, there are apps on the iPhone that you can scan things, and for someone who is low vision, who can use magnifiers on the phone, it's a lot easier to use some of those apps. But for someone who's completely blind, not being able to see barcodes, to be able to scan certain things with your camera, it can be a little difficult. But in fact, that pen friend, is somebody in the kitchen? No, nobody's in there. We may come back to it, but if I get that pen friend, I can scan these labels. And, I put a label on a rub, I put a label on my wood, and I can just scan it with this pen friend, and it tells me what it is. I tell it what that label is, and then when I scan it, it reads it back to me. Can you hand me that pen friend? And so I'll just, in fact, let me see if there's... Well, she's going to bring me that pen friend, and I'll just show folks what it is. We provide these to the folks that we make these deliveries to, because it is so helpful. All right, so like I filled up this particular bottle of rub. Let me turn this on, and we put a label on it. All right, so this is filled up with the blindsided rub, and I put a little sticker on the top, and I can program that sticker with this thing. So when I put a blank sticker on, I can scan it and tell this what I want it, what I wanted to label it. And then the next time it scans it, it tells me. And so you can label clothes. You can label canned goods. There's magnetic labels that go on canned goods in the pantry. All kinds of things you can do with this. One of the guys we delivered to labeled he loves to fish, so he labeled his tackle in his tackle box. The other guy we delivered to used to work on and still works on bicycles. He was a triathlete, and so he labeled his tools for bicycling and working on bicycles for other people. It's an amazing device, and I've just been really excited about it.
So does the sticker have like a chip in it that it's reading, or is it like a barcode, or how does it?
It's a barcode, yeah. It's like a barcode on the label, and this has a memory because like I scan it and then I'll hold the button and I'll say blindsided, and it'll remember that and associate it with that barcode, and I mean it's got a 4 gig memory, and so I can make all kinds of little files like that, and label just an infinite amount of things.
I know when I watched you doing that, it was like the coolest thing. And before I get going any further, I want to point out some things from the people that are in the live chat. Kent says, "What an awesome attitude." Bologna Ring Ranch says, "My hat is off to you, working a product for progress and not personal gain." Ken also said earlier, "I'm working my way backwards up this thing. This man totally impresses me." Kent, I agree with you on that one.
Well, I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin just jumped in here and said, "What did I miss?" Honestly, Fred, I can't go backwards here because we're 22 minutes in, and I don't know that I could sum up what's gone on thus far in anything less than maybe 20 minutes. So you're going to have to check it out from the beginning tomorrow. All right. We've got 19 people hopped on here. All right. So I don't need to ask what your channel's all about because it's pretty obvious.
Well, real quick though, I am changing my focus a little bit because when the channel started, it was just a blind guy doing what sighted folks were doing. That's when the channel started. It's really changed gears with all the encouragement and the people contacting me and telling me about it. And my focus now on the videos that I'm making now is really to focus on, hey, not only can some sighted folks learn from what I'm doing, but I'm going to concentrate more on being a little bit more verbal about what it is I'm doing, explaining what I have in front of me, and really walking, a visually impaired person through the cook to try and help them to be able to do it on their own.
Right. All right. So who taught you how to cook?
My mom had a big part in that, and my dad. Both parents had, when my dad was in the military, and so when he was about to retire, we bought a farm in central Missouri, just on the northeast side of the Ozark Mountains, and that was one of the responsibilities that my brother and I would have, and we would get home with my dad. Not retired yet. So, he would get off active duty. He would come home late. My mom was working at the time as well. So my brother and I had chores on the farm, and we would get supper started. And so through junior high and high school, I was doing a lot of cooking there at the house, and learning a lot, from my parents. And so when I left home right out of high school, I was cooking. I still had some vision. I was losing my vision during this time, which was probably helpful to me because I got pretty familiar with things. I know what a lot of things look like. I know what to expect, working with various, products and appliances. My parents, and then some of the YouTubers that are out there, trying to learn, new things that I was intimidated to try in times past. I was really a steak, burger, and brat griller for the longest time, and I didn't get into smoking until after I lost my sight.
So let's talk about that. Kind of give us. So we've got a bunch of new people on here, and like Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin wanted to know how you got your channel name, and I typed in a comment. I'm guessing because he's blind, but let's if you want to, kind of talk about that a little bit, kind of what happened, etc.
With losing my sight?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So when I was 10 years old, we'd been on the farm a little over a year, and we were coon hunting out one night in a big cornfield, and I actually just couldn't see anything. Even with the headlamp on, I wasn't able to see hardly anything at all. So we started going to doctors and trying to figure out what was happening. Because my dad was in the military, Fort Leonard Wood, Missouri, medevaced me to a hospital in Denver, Colorado, which used to be Fitzsimmons. It's now a children's hospital there, but it was a Air Force hospital. And I was diagnosed with retinitis pigmentosus. Short name for that is RP. And I was losing my peripheral, which is why I couldn't see at night, because at night your peripheral draws in the light. And so I was losing all of that. My cones and rods were getting distorted. My blood vessels were constricting. And so it just kept closing in. So from age 10 to age 16, I lost 80% of my vision. And from that point on, I was considered legally blind. No correction would help. When I was, around 30 years old, my left eye got down to the point, just like it was looking through a straw, until finally my left eye closed up. There's nothing there. And then about 9.5, 10 years ago, my right eye got to the point where if I'm outside, I can tell if the sun is out and it's bright, but I don't see shadows, shapes, colors, or anything like that. I can just tell if it's really sunny. Otherwise, it just looks completely dark in my right eye. Like right now, I know there's a light on because setting the camera up, make sure there's plenty of light. I can't tell. There's any light on in here. So.
Gotcha. In for the grill barbecue, his real name's Scott, wants to know, so it would be what's hanging on the wall to your left, which I can tell it's some sort of a critter, but it's cut off at the neck.
I'll get one of my girls to get the camera, and I'll point out above me. So you can move the tripod. Above me, you'll see an elk antler. It's just a spike. Then you're going to see an antelope over here. And then to the right of that is a mule deer. So that's what's hanging on the wall. So an elk, antelope, and mule deer. That is the Colorado trifecta. And yes, I harvested those. So.
All right, so I feel like for me and you talking, I'm okay to ask this question. Somebody in the crowd asked, I'm sure you've heard a lot of blind jokes. What's your best comeback?
Is that a blind joke?
No, I think he was asking you probably get a lot of blind jokes. No, or was that the comeback and I didn't get it?
Yeah, usually, something like that, people think, oh man, I just offended them, and so that's probably my best, to scare them for just a minute, to make them think they offended me when they haven't. I don't know if there's necessarily a joke so much, there's all kinds of little sayings, that are out there that, drama, drama goes on everywhere. I'll miss the drama like the blind guy misses the stairs. So, You know, why don't blind folks skydive? Scares their dogs. You know, there's all kinds of stuff out there, you know, but you know, the funniest stuff is really just real life things that have happened, you know, that what people have done to me, for me, or, you know, yeah, that's really, you know, it's like comedians talk about the funniest material they have is real life stuff. And that's true, you know, about blindness too. So
I know the video that you did with Big Green Egg where you had the people put the blindfolds on and,
yeah.
you know, whether it was eat or flip biscuits or I think there was a pepper and a lemon.
Yeah.
What was the people's kind of feeling after doing that? Like
A newfound respect. Um, and it was fun, but there's no way they'd want to do it permanent.
right.
They realize the difficulty that it takes and how scared they would be if there was a station where they were doing it with a live fire with chicken wings. If the chicken wings were the appetizer, and if you wanted an appetizer, you had to go pull one off yourself under blindfold. So that was kind of a neat thing. But some of them were intimidated, didn't want to do it because there was a fire underneath those chicken wings. And so we had the cold station where we had the English muffins to flip like a burger to simulate the burgers, and the, you know, for using tongs and stuff, the peppers and the lemon, and yeah, they would not have wanted to do it. Most of them with if there would have been a fire under there, they, you know, that scared them to think about that, and that's, it can be scary, you know, for someone who's blind, and that's kind of my focus moving forward with the channel. The next series of videos is all going to be lower and slow cooking. I don't want to say low and slow because I don't go below 250, but, and some people say that's not real low and slow, but for a blind, you know, for cooking burgers, for example, smokehouse burgers, you know, we're going to be doing a video on burgers, and that's what it's going to be. It's going to be how to smoke a burger. Keep your temp low. That way you're not worried about the flare-ups, because that's where folks who are visually impaired and blind, other than touching a metal grill, they're worried about the flames when they try to flip or pull off what they're cooking. And so we're going to go through this series, and we're going to cook everything at around 275 and show them that you can do it without having to be so intimidated, and you're able to control the very thing that you're afraid of and put out some amazing food.
So Roundhouse Ranch Barbecue says it's a puppy dog. I don't know that I would call that a puppy dog, and then asked if it's a service dog. If you want to, I never caught whether it was a boy or a girl. So
there's a black lab, and the black lab is a retired guide dog. He just retired a year ago. And so he's now moseying around, sleeping most of the time. I guess he's over here laying down somewhere. But and then we've got a Doberman. The lab is he should be about 75 pounds. He's a little overweight. The Dobie's about 90. Here he is. And the lab can literally walk underneath this Dobie without ducking. I mean, this Dobie is just he's a tall beast of a dog, but he's a big baby. So
it's funny to me that the dogs take the starring role in almost every show, it seems like.
Yeah, right.
All right, so I don't know if you've kept up or seen with, I know you were sick for a while. Mr. Mega Fred Zeppelin has a music tag running around, but he asked, what is Blind Girling's favorite overall music?
Overall would be bluegrass. Yeah, most definitely. However, I was in an 80s hair band, so I don't know if there's a picture over there you grab quickly. I played guitar in a rock band in the late 80s, early 90s. So, and they're gonna. And I've got a picture that you may not recognize. Okay. There you go. So there's a picture of me with one of my first guide dogs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So, and is that the Mohawk? Okay. So, and that's actually a Mohawk. If you guys can make that out, it's all one length. That's after I got it cut. It used to be down to my waist, and I could pull it back into a ponytail, and everything around the sides and back was shaved. So,
check the picture, Daddy.
But sorry. So anyway, and so we did. I would play a lot of '80s hair band ballads, Cinderella. We did a lot of heavy metal, Iron Maiden. So I like all music for the most part, but bluegrass is definitely what I love. So.
All right. What's a weekday meal look like at your house?
I have no idea.
So it's funny you say that because somebody made a comment that said, Chris, avoid saying, have you seen?
And you know what? And then, sighted folks do that. They'll be like, oh, don't say, look at this. Don't say, oh, I don't, oh, do you watch, or what do you like to watch on TV? Oh, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have said watch. Yeah, well, whatever. I watch TV. Usually it's just through the speakers, but yeah, I mean, use the terms. I mean, don't change your speech talking to someone who's blind, because then it gets awkward and uncomfortable. And I haven't met a blind person yet who is offended by those words. And we use them just like you would use them. It's just, we're using our ears or our fingers rather than our eyes. So, yeah, but and that's usually, what's something look like? Yeah, I don't know. No, it's usually something off the grill: potatoes, asparagus, or rice. Tri-tip is pretty common, or pork loin is pretty common. What's that? Fillets. Oh, steaks. Yeah, we do a lot of steaks, especially fillets. That's, fried taters and rolls.
Mashed potatoes.
Yeah, mashed potatoes. I mean, yeah, it's a family ordeal. We all love to cook together, and we sit down and eat together. And that's, tonight was chili, so yeah.
So before I forget, Dan Smoky Goodness just hopped on. I can't remember if I finished this up, but we're going to give away 2 bottles of the blindsided rub.
Yeah.
And what you need to do is, after the video ends, comment in the bottom, and then I'll use the random comment generator in a couple days and draw names. But there's 2 people from when Tango Joe is on, Dan, that haven't sent me their info, Dan. So you guys might want to look at the video and see if you won, Dan, and send me your info. And I don't remember who the other person was. I'll have to look at my notes. All right. So out of the Facebook group, Paul Terry asked, what's your all-time favorite meat to cook?
It probably is brisket. I mean, I love cooking brisket. I really do. Whole briskets. But tri-tip is right there. Beef. I mean, that's really the big thing is beef. So do a lot of pork, but my favorite would be between brisket and tri-tip.
Right, and so Meathead always asks this question. It's made my list of questions that get asked every week. What is your signature dish?
right now everybody's requesting my brisket. I mean, I actually started doing some catering to help make money for Blind Grilling here in the Springfield, Missouri area, and that's what everybody requests. Everybody wants me to do the brisket. So, um, beyond that, I've just perfected my baked beans, I think. So I've got my baked beans now that I'm just excited about, I'm thrilled about. I did a catering job last weekend at a VFW, and they seem to concur that that nailed it. So, but one thing that I have been known for before the brisket was jambalaya. So cooking jambalaya on the Big Green Egg has been what a lot of folks recognize. When I do egg fests here in town, they come up expecting to have jambalaya.
All right, so Ori from Go Outside and Cooks asked, he says, I know this was said already, but can you go buy his rub? I left left the link in the description, and in talking to Chris, he doesn't think that there's going to be probably product left by Monday. So you better go get it now.
Yeah.
And I got to figure out, am I safe for the 2 bottles that I'm going to buy to give away?
Yeah.
Or do I need to, we're good?
I've got those set after our conversation. I've got those 2 bottles. So we're good with that. But if you want any for yourself, you better go get some.
I've actually got some in the cart right now. I just didn't have the time to go through. I didn't know what the checkout process was going to be before the show. And I'm like, looks like you've already got at least one gone from the Smoky Patio. Says he's got a bottle on the way.
Awesome, man. I appreciate it. Yeah. So, and like I said earlier, all the proceeds are going directly to Blind Grilling, so the nonprofit, and it's going to provide a lot of great stuff for some blinded veterans and first responders, and so I'm excited about it. And you guys love it. I'm telling you guys, this rub is amazing. It really is. In fact, what surprised me, my wife made a homemade fettuccine Alfredo, chicken fettuccine Alfredo, and she used this rub on the chicken. And, my first bite was like, she makes an amazing Alfredo to begin with. But I'm like, this chicken is the best chicken that I think we've made. And she's like, well, I used that rub on it. I was like, wow, this is great. So you guys are going to love it.
Kent Vanderweerd made a comment. Credit card maxed out, Chris. No, it wasn't the problem. Just ran out of time. So basically, I get home from work. This is all on the Eastern time zone. I get home from work about 6. Try to eat something real quick. Then start doing final preparation for the show. I call my kids at 7:45. I send the link out to whoever I'm interviewing at 8 o'clock. Try maybe to watch a YouTube video or 2 if I'm lucky. Get the camera and all this crap set up. So my Thursdays are a grind, but I love them. I love them to death.
Yeah.
All right.
If anybody wanted to search for that, that antelope that's up there, and see that antelope hunt, it is on YouTube. My son followed me in the guide with a cell phone and videoed that antelope hunt. And so if you do, the Blind Man Antelope Hunt with Elkhorn Outfitters, you'll be able to find that on YouTube and watch me go after antelope.
Not sure if you still got T-shirts, but are you still selling T-shirts?
Yes. Yep. I don't know what all sizes I have right now, but yes, I do have some, and they are still for sale.
Just hit you up via Facebook or YouTube or
blindgrilling@gmail.com. That would be the best way to let me know what kind of shirt, what size you need, and I can let you know what we have available in your size, and then with your email address, then we can send you an invoice through PayPal, and you can purchase the shirts through PayPal, and we'll get them sent off to you.
So looking at the group of people that are in the chat, I'm pretty sure it's going to be at least extra large, if not bigger. That's going to be required from at least 60 to 70%. Except for Barlow, he's going to need a double extra small.
That's barbecue medium, right? Is that?
All right. We're getting close to me running out of questions, so you guys know the deal. If you got stuff you want me to ask, now's a great time to start piling them into the chat. What did I miss? All right. What's your favorite video you've made and why?
Yeah.
You can't whisper from behind the camera. It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. So Sarah and I made pretzels, which her recipe for brisket stuffed pretzels is on the Big Green Eggs website.
And Pinterest.
And Pinterest, I guess. Sarah's stuffed pretzels. That was a fun video. Any video that I'm making with my kids, I'm loving. I had a lot of fun. I try to have fun with all my videos. When I was demonstrating the Amazon Echo for the first time and showing how that Flame Boss is now hands-free, that was a fun video. I got to interview the guy who does salt, because I do some cooking with Himalayan salt stones from Salt Rocks, and I got to interview John Tucker from Salt Rocks when he was passing through Springfield. So that was fun, and that's it's got like 30 views on it, so it's not one that a lot of folks have watched, but it was fun for me, to go and interview someone who's developed such an awesome product, for cooking on that I love to use. I don't know. The most recent cook with that big tomahawk ribeye was a lot of fun, but I just enjoy it. I just enjoy cooking. So I'm not sure if there's one that right now just really jumps out. There is one of me driving a Jeep up a huge hill and going over a couple of obstacles and through a creek, and that was fun to make. So that I had fun.
One thing I'm going to ask your daughter if she can do a battery check on the phone, just because what I don't want to happen is us to get cut off because I wasn't doing the right thing of paying attention.
Yeah, I imagine we're good. She'll check it.
You got 32%.
Okay. There's that long cord in the back in the bedroom.
Oh yeah.
So, all right. So if I do my math right, we went through 68% in 50 minutes, so we should be good.
Yeah, we should be.
All right. Heavy Metal BBQ. Whoa, I got to scroll up quite a bit. Asked, what was your favorite television shows to watch as a kid?
Zorro. Loved watching Zorro. Wow. Alf. Yeah, because I hate cats too. Yeah, I mean the A-Team, that was a big thing. That MacGyver, those type of shows growing up, in the 80s. That's that would probably be along those lines. There was before China Beach, there was one, not Platoon. There was an Army show that I really enjoyed watching. I'm having trouble. I can't remember the name of it though, but a lot of the 80s shows, they just don't get much better than the 80s. 80s cartoons. I mean, the Muppets. Listen, we just got through the Christmas holiday and I was able to watch the best Christmas movie ever made, The Muppet Christmas Carol. And so I love the Muppets, Kermit the Frog, and and Miss Piggy, and the Swedish Chef. That's my hero right there. Maybe that's who taught me how to cook. And my wife would probably think that he taught me how to cook when she sees the mess in the kitchen when I'm done, just everything flying everywhere. So.
I'm trying to scroll through the chat because I think I missed something, but I can't. Bomb, if you asked a question, ask it again because I'm struggling with the chat. And I'm not sure if that's what In for the Grill Barbecue is talking about. All right. So one thing that's terrible about doing this live chat is really hard to keep up with the chat on the side because I'm trying. This is what I've told people off cameras. Most of the time after I get done with the interview, I don't remember what's gone on because like I try to focus on what the person's saying, but then trying to keep up with the chat.
Right.
It's hard.
Oh, and I try to follow the chat. And I've got listening to you and whoever you have on, and then I've got my phone, reading to me each comment in the chat. So I'm trying to chat as well in it. And that's, man, that just puts another voice in your ear, and that it gets, yeah. So, and plus you're trying to read all that. I can only imagine it's.
Well, the good thing about the audience that typically watches the show, at least live, is I think it's pretty much been the same people. So they kind of, in the beginning, it was questions getting piled on in the beginning, and I try to write them all down, and now everybody's pretty much kind of figured out, wait till closer to the end. Yeah. So it's gotten a little bit easier to see things.
Yeah.
Kent Vanderweerd says, what's your favorite non-barbecue side dish other than the pretzels?
Other than the pretzels, non-barbecue side dish. Side dish. Yeah, au gratin potatoes. Well, here's the thing. You say non-barbecue side dish. Here's what I want folks to know. When I started Blind Grilling, it wasn't a nonprofit. It wasn't with the idea of I'm going to help other blind folks so much as, first of all, I can do what you can do, because people tell me I can't, which is one of my biggest motivators. But secondly, my challenge, and I don't think it's just because I'm blind, it's because I have confidence in what I can do in the Big Green Egg as a smoker. If you can cook it inside, I'll cook it outside. And I pretty much held to that. I can do what other folks can do inside. I can do it outside. I do French toast on the grill, eggs over medium, sausage, biscuits. If you're cooking it inside, I'll cook it outside and do it on the grill. So I don't know if you think if just about everything I do is out there. I don't know. So you might consider it a barbecue side. What would not be considered a barbecue side? Maybe that would help me out. Coleslaw. I think coleslaw is a barbecue side.
I think anything's a barbecue side when you really think about it.
Yeah, I know. I'm like fried okra. We did fried alligator tail on the Big Green Egg.
Oh, that was fun.
It was fun. It was exciting. I mean, it was good.
That was Facebook Live, I think.
So yeah, we did Facebook Live on that one, and we fried alligator tail on the egg. So it's good. But other sides. I love potato. Any type of potato. We'll do a garlic potato. Cut up potatoes. Put some garlic and onion and that blindsided seasoning. Wow, or some other seasoning. Put it in foil, seal it up, and put it on the grill or in the oven and let it go. At 350 for an hour, and it's amazing. It's just good. So I love that side.
So Kent says, but your favorite is ? Not smoked.
Not smoked. Cheesecake. I do a cheesecake that I'm not real thrilled about because it absorbs so much smoky flavor. So if it's not smoked, cheesecake.
All right, Barlow Barbecue wants to know, what is your guilty food pleasure?
Cheesecake. I did that blueberry cheesecake, on the grill. That thing is amazing. But yeah, I'm a sweet tooth. I love sweets. I love ice cream, and actually frozen custard um, is probably my guilty pleasure.
All right, I think I've caught up with the chat. Damn it, Scott. I'm not reading that out loud this time.
Thank you.
It's not bad, but your daughter's in the room, so not doing it. Funniest thing that has happened while recording that we never saw after editing.
Well, the couple times I tried to video on my own, and I had the wrong camera, so it was facing the other way. So didn't see that. I mean, the funniest thing that happened, I thought I kept in the videos. I was making the bloomin' onion. I do a bloomin' onion on the egg, or an onion blossom on the egg. Instead of frying it, I'll smoke it. And I had an apple slicer that you press down, and I thought, man, that would work perfect. And it broke. And I mean, it just epic fail. It really was. But we kept it in. I mean, that was because that's what happens when I cook. Sometimes there may be some things I knock over that the girls are in the background laughing because I've knocked something over. Sometimes we cut it out, sometimes we don't. Probably what you don't see or don't realize is happening is the camera, sometimes the view will move. And what's happening is they're following me because for some reason my head has shifted away from where they're at with the camera because I've lost my orientation, and they're trying to get my attention. They'll be like snapping or like, look over here, and I'm like, what are you talking about? And so they'll just move the camera, and then we'll laugh about it later. So that's a challenge for them to video me and make sure that I'm always looking at the camera, or at least that general direction.
So I'll say one thing that I noticed, that on the first Blindsided, when you got to the door and you had your hand on his wife's shoulder to get to the door, after you guys talked, he invited you in, and you're like, no, you need to come outside. Do you get to a point where, is it I know it's from my sliding door to the grill, it's 14 steps, or like I noticed, like you having just gotten there, didn't know the orientation. So she kind of helped you, but he just kind of walked out, and I don't know if I missed something in that, maybe some editing, but it was like he stopped 3 feet short of the truck, almost instinctually, like this is where I should stop.
Yeah. So if you were to come to my house and watch me get around my house, I get accused of not being blind all the time. Just because I'm familiar with it. I know it. I can walk even in front of the house along the street. I can walk this area and know it. And I can do it without a cane or without a guide dog. But, when I got to Neil's house, I was in unfamiliar territory, but that was his territory. That's his place. He knows it. And he's able to walk it and do everything. And that's like when we went inside and we're videoing even him going out to the deck or going from the deck inside. He just goes because he does it all the time. People come over and I'm like, I'm going to go check the grill. And I go and there's one step down before you get into our foyer and before it goes out to the deck. And, I'm down and I'm out the door. And so unless a door is left open, ajar, just like a slightly, and I don't realize, I don't know it, I'll run into that. If something is moved, that kind of frustrates me because I put them where I know I can get them. But yeah, when you know where you're at, I can walk around this house without sighted assistance. And in fact, the only reason I turn a light on in my house is because if my wife hears something in the house and she comes in and there's no lights on, I'm more likely to get shot. So, so I turn a light on, like I'll turn a light on in the bathroom, because one of the first things people do when they walk to the bathroom door, before they knock, jiggle the handle, or anything else, a sighted person looks to see if there's a light on. And if there's no light on, they think they can just walk right in. And pretty early on, I better turn a light on even though I don't need it. So I'll turn the light on for the sake of others, so I don't scare them or get shot or have somebody walk in the bathroom on me or something.
So is it something you have to think about, or do you just, it's muscle memory of, I know that here's where the door is going to be, this is where the chair or end table is?
There's a lot of muscle memory, I think, to it. Height of doorknobs and other things. So yeah, there's some of that. I don't count steps, but I have like a rhythm. I know it's like a rhythm in my head. I get maybe from music or the love of music and things. So I couldn't tell you that it's 14 steps as much as when I start walking, there's a little rhythm played out in my head, and I know when I get to where I'm going. And so when I go outside, my wife is really good about parking the Jeep in a certain spot. And so when I go outside, I can go and walk around the Jeep with no problem. However, my daughter, when she drives, she pulls in and I'll walk out and run into the Jeep because it's in a different spot. So, you get used to where things are. And we say it's a joke, but it's happened. One time, when I'm in trouble with my wife, she rearranges the furniture and doesn't tell me. So that's.
All right, so Meathead wanted to know what your favorite spice is.
Well, like a single spice, garlic. I love garlic.
I can't blame you on that one.
Yeah. Yep. So definitely. I'll put garlic in just about everything.
All right, so we are down to 2 questions. So unless somebody piles something in the chat, we're going to run these 2 and we're going to be done. So I'm giving you guys your 2-question warning. Christy's cooking channel would always ask this question week in and week out. So I decided that this made it onto the permanent list, kind of like Meathead's question. What's the best and the worst thing you've ever cooked?
Wow. I don't know. How have I missed this question?
Because it's usually at the end and most people don't watch the whole thing. I don't know.
Yeah, I try to, but maybe it may have been one of those times I was going through all the chat, checking out all the chat. Best and worst thing I've ever cooked. Might have any suggestions?
The cookies.
Oh yeah, I tried to do cookies on the Salt Rock. That was terrible. Oh, it was a disaster. I know what happened, and so I haven't gone back to make it better. But I love cooking on that Himalayan saltstone, and I tried to do chocolate chip cookies on that saltstone, and they turned out terrible. And I think it's because the saltstone was way too hot. Normally, you're supposed to cook extremely hot on a saltstone, but there are a few exceptions to that, and cookies is one of them, and I did not know that. So they turned out terrible, absolutely terrible. Uh, it's I love doing burgers. I don't know what's the best thing. Yeah, I go with brisket. That would happen. I mean, I love the brisket. So pork belly turned. Yeah, those pork belly. Yeah, the pork belly turned out pretty good. You gotta love fat though.
Right.
But brisket's probably the my favorite.
So it's funny. You and I were talking before the show, and you asked how everything was focused and everything was going, and somebody made the comment. So I've got a black drop. It's just a sheet because I'm in my basement. It's got a cinder block wall, and he said that so the focus on the camera is something to do with the black backdrop is getting all wonky, which I've noticed for the last couple weeks. And so you got no worries. I'm looking way worse than anything you got going on.
All right.
But the other thing we've noticed is Meathead came out with his video 2 weeks ago where he revealed his real name is Chris. But when you look at how many Chris's have a barbecue channel on YouTube, there's got to be like 10 of us at least.
Yeah. Yeah, there's quite a few. Yeah, popular name it seems.
All right, so the Smoky Patio asked, besides Blindsided, what is your favorite rub?
um, so depending on the meat, um, the 441 South probably has my favorite rubs. Of the Fat Henry's for brisket is phenomenal, and his Game Changer, Sweet Uncle T's Game Changer from 441 South is really good on ribs. My favorite of his, other than the Blindsided, I can't eat, and it's the honeysuckle dust. You mentioned, well, I don't remember if this was on after we got started or before, but I had been sick and hadn't made any videos in a while. And I have diverticulitis, so I can't eat seeds or nuts anymore. And he has coriander seeds in that rub. And that's actually how I found out, and how I got sick was using that rub. I love it. It's amazing, but I can't eat it unfortunately. Other than some of the, Peter's great rubs, Lane's Barbecue and 441 South are probably my absolute favorite rubs on the market. But those are smaller, would probably be considered smaller name kind of things. One that anyone can buy anywhere, Cavender's Greek Seasoning. Love Cavender's Greek Seasoning. And Slap Your Mama Cajun Seasoning. Those would be my two favorite that anyone can buy anywhere in the grocery stores.
I've actually got a thing of the Slap Your Mama's Cajun Seasoning upstairs.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah.
All right. Quest Hunter at our Shack Barbecue asks, what's the first thing you ever grilled and how did it turn out?
First thing I ever grilled was deer, and it was amazing. Almost all the cooking growing up, when I started cooking, it was wild game. It was deer and turkey. So that was the majority of all the cooking I did growing up, and it turned out great.
Somebody asked something earlier. I think it was Ori, but I could be wrong, and I kind of skipped it. Was best game meat that you like to cook?
Antelope. Did you say antelope? Yeah, antelope. I love antelope. I think it's probably my favorite. It goes antelope, elk, wild turkey, whitetail, alligator, um, and wild boar. That would probably kind of the order of things. So, love the back. Obviously, love the back strap. And I love the tenderloin. Big difference, but I love both backstrap and tenderloin.
All right, last question. My favorite question of all questions, and I'm going to word it properly so I don't get any crap from the comment section. Oh, wait a minute. Nope, Meathead not asking that question. Three channels you listen to, one big, one small, and one you think should be bigger than they currently are.
All right. The big channel is easy. Malcolm Reed, How to Barbecue Right. That's usually the first channel I go to if I'm trying to figure something out. If I'm want a refresher on something, on a meat or a dish, I'm gonna see if he's done it. So that's the big channel that I watch, no doubt. Really before getting involved with the YouTube Cooks Facebook, I wasn't familiar with any of the small channels. I didn't really watch many of the small channels, and I've heard this question asked. And here's what I struggle with. I don't know how big or small some of these guys are, other than when some of you post, how many followers they've gotten to. I don't even know how many followers I have. I know it's not many, but the small channel, O'Neill, he's with O'Neill Outdoors, so he's probably a bigger channel. I watch a lot of him. O'Neill Williams, maybe. He does a lot of outdoor wild game grilling. So there's that one, but that's probably still a bigger channel. Smaller channels would be Hobo Nichol, Everyday Barbecue, and Lasse Barbecue. That would be the, definitely, and just about all the guys who are on here, I'm starting to watch. But I'm just starting. So there hasn't been one small channel that I know is small that I've really just followed for a long time. And certainly not any longer than the YouTube Cooks group has been around. So right. Big Blue Barbecue, I've learned a lot from watching his channel. A lot of the history that he gives, he's always been fun to watch. But beyond that though, what was the next one small that should be bigger?
Yeah, so I like the way you answered that question, because what's been interesting in asking people this question has been, it depends on where you stand in the food chain. For lack of better words, like, you sit there and you look at Ballistic Barbecue's got 200,000-ish subscribers.
Oh, wow. See, I had no idea.
So for him, big is obviously going to be bigger than him. Whereas I just looked you up, you got 323 subscribers.
Wow, that's a huge hit. Thanks a lot.
Well,
go from 200,000 to 300. No, that's good. I'm fine with that.
Well, we can keep going to the About page, and I could actually do some math for you and look at it, and I'd say you're doing pretty dang good.
I've got a lot of views. I know that.
Yeah, I think you got 62,000 views. I mean, I know guys that have subscriber counts that don't get view counts, that, if you look at it just from I've got 1,000 subscribers, just using this number randomly, and they've got 4,000 views, it means nothing. That's the thing with YouTube that people misinterpret, is they think subscribers mean something, and they really, to an extent, don't.
Yeah. I haven't paid attention to the subscribers so much, and yeah, if it really starts getting up there, I might, I think a milestone for me would be 1,000. That's where I would be like, wow, folks are really starting to pay attention. And I'm almost there on Facebook. I'm at like 916, I think, on Blind Grilling's Facebook page. And so, and we're gonna give away a set of rubs once I hit 1,000 on Blind Grilling Facebook page. So if you haven't liked the Blind Grilling on Facebook, it's facebook.com/blind grilling. So check that out. And so we hit 1,000, we'll give away a set of rubs.
I mean, that's the thing I think so I'm working on some videos and contemplating whether to make them, given some recent controversy in some videos that I've made. And honestly, I consider the hot seat an open forum. So I'll be honest with everybody. I don't regret any of the videos that I've made to this day. But one of the things that I've talked to some other people that I see that you specifically are doing is you're creating a brand. You got the Facebook and other things going on that, the thing with social media that's screwed up is nobody likes to share with each other. So if you post a video on YouTube and put a link that sends people elsewhere, YouTube doesn't like it. Facebook doesn't like it if you send people to YouTube. And it's this whole screwed up thing. But if you're going to get to the point of growing, you have to cross pollinate everybody.
Yeah.
So if you learn anything from me ever, it's that.
Yeah. And that's, I'm going to do what I do with a purpose in mind. And that purpose, it has developed and it has changed over time. From when I started to where I'm at now, it's on a completely different track altogether. But I still have a purpose that I'm intending on focus on, and what others and what YouTube and what Facebook says about it has no bearing on it whatsoever. It's a medium that I use to do and accomplish a cause. But if they want to throw fits about certain things, people are coming up with other mediums and cause, to get on, and that's fine. I'll just do that.
I mean, that's the thing is your channel, started one way and you found your lane, for lack of better words, that you want to get into, and you're doing what makes you happy. And I always used to, I remember as a kid, people would say, you could be anything in the world. And I got to a certain point in my life where I realized I could be anything in the world, but I don't like my current job, but it pays the bills in a decent way. If I wanted to go paint paintings, I'm probably not going to make the living and have the ability to support what I want to do. So you have that balance of, do you like what you're doing versus the outcome of it? Whereas if you put it in the YouTube perspective, everybody kind of jumps on here and tries to figure out what they want to do, what their video content's going to be. And there's some guys that they love what they're doing. Understanding when I'm saying this across many genres of, if you got I'm going to use a video game channel right now. There's 1 million people with a video game channel. You're going to have a hard time getting to grasp that view group. Food is the same way. So I think where you're headed and the way that you've got things going and the cause that you have going, that, you're going to hit that, doubling subscriber count. I would almost bet you in less than a half a year, if not sooner than that.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, that'd be great. I know a lot of people, there's been a lot of talk about how YouTube pays and people wanting to make money and stuff. I've turned the Blind Grilling YouTube completely over to blind grilling nonprofit. So any money made, from, because we do monetize now our videos, but anything that comes from that goes to the nonprofit. So this isn't even something that I'm doing to make money, for me. This isn't anything for me personally. Anything that's made goes to the nonprofit, and the nonprofit owns the YouTube. And so that's I used to do Facebook for hunting and fishing outfitters. And when the guy I was working for retired and closed his hunting outfitter in Colorado and the fishing outfit in Minnesota, I was like, well, what do I do now? And that's kind of where I started with Facebook blind grilling, cooking and videos with the kids, and then put it on YouTube, and then it just went to what it is now. But yeah, I hope it grows. I hope it grows because it's going to help, a cause that I am passionate about, and I want to further that cause. And that's the reason I'm really hoping it grows.
So, Cooking Green Bastard Style, my friend from Canada just hit you with the 324th sub. Kent Vandeweerd just hit you with the 325th sub. Anybody else that's not subbed, I don't know how you can't like this man. Go sub his channel. He makes good videos. I don't even know how you can't. If you have any negative from this interview, it's something I did.
That or the dogs running around. So, yeah.
So two things I've learned about YouTube. One, people really like when kids interrupt your videos, because I've dealt with that and I've finally embraced that. And two, everybody loves dogs on the hot seat.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anybody who ever comes on here again, just rent you some dogs. If you can just pile the house full of dogs, it will gain you something.
Right. Yeah, that's right. Yeah. That's, with the YouTube videos, I love cooking with my kids, and usually it's one of my daughters behind the camera, and if the other daughter's around, she's in front of it with me, or my wife is behind the camera. So it has been a family effort in that. But and when my son, he's moved away now, but when he's in town making videos with him, I just love doing that with the kids, with the family, and it means a lot to me to be able to do that. And I think for the most part they enjoy it. There's some times when it's not convenient, for them, and so but they, they've done what they can to help me, and I appreciate it very much.
So the lab just crept in behind you on the right side, almost on cue.
Yeah, never sit.
All right, so we're up to 328 now. Bomb Grillins said he just subbed you. Heavy Metal Barbecue just subbed you and unsubbed me. I'm okay with that because you bought the spin and grill Heavy Metal Barbecue, and you know my feelings on that. All right, so I'm going to give you free reign to end this show however you like. You can say what you want, etc. But when you get done and we close out, I don't have to worry about you hopping off, because your daughter don't hit the button. And if she wants to hop on, or the wife or the other daughter wants to hop on, now's your time.
Yeah, my wife definitely won't. She's not one to be on this side of the camera, so that won't happen. But no, I appreciate the support. You guys have, everyone's been extremely kind. I've got a few videos that have, thumbs down on it, but for the most part, it's all thumbs up. It's all been great comments. And, it's been encouraging. And I think that's what's been probably the best thing about all this, is the encouragement that I've gotten, because that really just motivates me to, to push on and encourage others, especially those who are blind, visually impaired, to know that they can regain a sense of independence if they think they've lost it. And that's really what I want them to know that they can have, is that independence. And if you know a veteran, or a first responder who has suffered vision loss, whether through injury or an eye disease, email us, blindgrilling@gmail.com, and let us know about it. And, we'll see what we can do. We want to help. We want to help give them that sense of independence back again and do something that they probably loved to do and thought they wouldn't be able to do again. That's what Blind Grilling is all about right now. And, you can donate on our Facebook page, and, or through PayPal if you want to do something like that, or you just spread the word, tell others about us, and help us, to find folks that we can help and enrich their lives. Because listen, when their lives are enriched and they're feeling like they have a sense of not only independence but worth and self-value, it improves not only their family life, it improves their neighborhoods. It reaches beyond that one person. And so I appreciate all the help folks are giving to us to make that possible.
All right, so let's run through your social media one more time.
Facebook.com/blindgrilling. We're almost to 1,000 likes on that. So go there on Facebook. Twitter and Instagram is @blindgrilling. And then, of course, youtube.com/blindgrilling as well. Now, I don't use Instagram that much. My daughters have to help me with that because it is not an accessible app completely. And so I can't use Instagram app completely on my own. So any comments, anything directed to me on Instagram, I have to have sighted assistance with that particular app. But I still try to work it and have my kids help me with it so I can try to help spread the word.
All right, so to wrap this up, you are now up to 331 subscribers.
Awesome.
You guys that are watching, you guys kick ass. I appreciate you guys every week. Sorry, I just said that word in front of your daughter. I did my best.
It's all good.
All right, we're going to sign off here. Thank you guys for watching, and that's about it. Bye.